Ever get this feeling, everything's normal, totally fine, then bam, something throws your whole world out of whack.
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of getting completely blindsided.
That's the vibe in The Sound of the Future, C.H. Riley's book.
Right, right. We're diving into those first chapters this time, seeing what these sounds do, not just to the world, but to people, like deep down.
Exactly. We're talking pages 1 through 34, setting the stage for all the craziness, and Riley kicks things off with Frank.
Yeah, good old Frank.
Totally average guy, just wants to unwind after work, maybe a soak in the hot tub, the usual.
Yeah, totally relatable.
Until this sound event hits.
And let me tell you, sound event sounds way too, I don't know, polite for what Riley describes.
No kidding. It's
Yeah.
like this explosion of metal, weird noises. You feel it in your chest.
Designed to get under your skin, for sure.
And it works. Frank is instantly terrified, trying to figure out what's going on. First instinct, check on the family.
His daughter, Olivia, especially, right?
Which adds a whole other level of stress. The book mentions she has autism, and loud, sudden noises are like the worst thing for her.
Oh, man. So now you have this family dealing with a global crisis on top of everything else.
And here's the kicker. No one knows what's happening. The news is freaking out. Could it be a weapon? Aliens.
Right. And the government, the people we're supposed to trust, they call them PIRs, phenomena of intense resonance.
Which tells us absolutely nothing.
Zero, zip, nada.
Yeah.
And that's where things get really interesting, psychologically speaking.
Huh.
Our brains, we crave patterns, explanations, when we don't have that.
It messes with you.
Big time. It triggers our deepest fears.
And people start coming unglued. Riley talks about this increase in weird behavior, people snapping at each other, acting like zombies, just grocery shopping.
Like the whole fabric of society is unraveling, right? We depend on this shared understanding of how things work.
Yeah, totally. And when that's disrupted by something as constant and unexplained as these sound events.
Yeah, no wonder things start falling apart.
It's like everyone is losing it. And amidst all the chaos, Frank, he starts noticing these changes in himself. He becomes super sensitive to sound, like the hum of the fridge, the floorboards creaking, things he never would notice before.
It's like his sonic world is on overdrive, painfully sharp and clear.
Right, everything's amplified.
And there's this concept called sonic anxiety. Certain sounds, especially the ones we can't explain, trigger primal fear responses.
Which makes sense if you think about it.
It does. On a subconscious level, sound is our warning system.
Oh, totally. Like rustling in the bushes, screeching tires, those sounds mean danger.
Exactly. But with Frank, it's like that system is stuck on high alert.
Because the original threat, those sound events, there's still a mystery. And it messes with his head, Like Frank starts having these crazy, vivid nightmares, almost like premonitions.
Yeah, it's like his subconscious is trying to make sense of this new reality where sound itself is the threat, processing it all. But it's weird, this heightened sensitivity. It's not just the bad sounds. Even his coffee tastes stronger. The colors around him are brighter. It's like all his senses are turned up.
Wow. But for Frank, it seems like more of a curse than a blessing. He has this desperate need for it all to stop, to go back to how things were.
Don't we all, though? I mean, that desire for control, to feel normal again, it's human, right? But what's interesting is how Frank finds comfort, and it's not what you'd expect. Classical music.
Which is so wild. This is a metalhead. We're talking distorted guitars, pounding drums. That's his thing.
Exactly. Yet there he is, finding peace in Bach, Beethoven.
It's like this hidden part of him is waking up, finding solace in all those complex melodies.
It really makes you think, what else is hidden inside us, waiting for the right, or maybe wrong, trigger to come out, like this sonic awakening Riley hints at. It's never defined outright, but the idea is that sound can unlock something within us, change how we see the world, even ourselves.
Like when a song just hits you, right? Cuts through everything, and you hear it with this new clarity you didn't have before. But for Frank, it's more than that. He's suddenly telling a viola from a cello, using words like crescendo and fortissimo, like musical knowledge he never knew he had is just bubbling up.
Bizarre. The world is falling apart. People are freaking out over these awful sounds, and he's tapping into this, musical fountain.
Crazy, right? It's like those sounds, as messed up as they are, opened a door in his brain. And get this, it's not just Frank. Olivia, who usually hates anything new, starts acting strange too. She's suddenly got this huge appetite, specifically for lettuce.
Lettuce, out of all things. But think about it, for Olivia's character, it's huge. This kid who lives on chicken nuggets and fries suddenly can't get enough lettuce.
Like something flipped a switch. So we've got Frank's sudden musical genius, Olivia mainlining lettuce, both totally out of the blue, both right after those sound events start. It makes you wonder, are these just random things, or is something bigger happening?
You have to ask, are these sounds, which seem scary at first, actually pushing us to evolve? Changing our senses, how we experience the world? Like, could this be the start of something totally new, for better or worse?
It's both exciting and terrifying at the same time. And as we get deeper into the book, that push and pull between fear and change just gets stronger because, yeah, Frank might be having this awakening, but everyone else, they're not doing so hot. Each sound event makes them act even weirder, like they're losing their grip on reality.
It's unsettling, to say the least.
It's like we're headed for two completely different realities, right? You've got Frank, maybe Olivia, experiencing this heightened awareness, like their senses are supercharged.
Yeah, but then everyone else is barely keeping it together, totally overwhelmed by the fear of it all.
And Riley, he captures that perfectly when Frank goes to the grocery store. This is a guy who craves normalcy, routines.
Right, structure.
Exactly. But as he's walking around, everyone just seems off. Their movements are jerky. Their eyes are vacant.
Riley even uses the word zombie-like to describe them.
It's creepy, man. Makes you wonder, is that us? Like, if we were faced with something we couldn't understand, something that threatened everything, would we lose it too?
It's that primal fear of the unknown, right? Our entire reality could just crumble. What happens to us then?
Do we become like shells of ourselves? Or does something new come out of all the chaos?
Man, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
That's what this whole deep dive comes down to. What's the lasting impact of these sounds? Are they going to destroy us? Or could they be, like Riley hints at, the push we need to evolve?
It's a question without an easy answer.
And maybe that's the point. Riley doesn't wrap everything up in a neat little bow. We don't get a clear explanation for the sounds or what they mean.
Nope, just left with this unsettling feeling,
Yeah.
Like, what if?
Exactly, like the quiet after a huge crash, that moment of what just happened and what's next. And I think that's what makes the sound of the future so good. It's not just about weird sounds in the apocalypse, it's about us, our anxieties, our potential for both, like darkness and growth.
Totally. It makes you examine yourself, how you'd react. Would you hold on to what you know, even if it's falling apart? Or would you take the leap, jump into the unknown?
Well, that's something to think about. And hey, hopefully this deep dive got you thinking about the power of sound, how fragile our reality really is, and maybe even what we're capable of. Until next time.